Raja, Ladila, Radha, you Radha, you Yeshu, Radha, you Radha, Yeshu, Radha, you Radha, Radha, Yeshu, Radha,
No, no problem. Okay. Because you already said, you had already said we had the copy already. Yeah. राधे राधे। हेलो हेलो।
हाँ आवाज आ रहा है।
श्री गणेशाय नमः। श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्री वेदपुरुषाय नमः। गणनाथ सरस्वती रविशुक्राय बृहस्पतिर् पंचैकांतस्वरे नित्यं वेदवाणीं प्रवर्तयेत्। बोलो सिद्धि विनायक गजानन भगवान की जय। एक बार जो है सबको राधे राधे नाम लेना है। राधे राधे, जय श्री राधे, राधे राधे, जय श्री राधे, राधे राधे, जय श्री राधे। बोलो कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। गोवर्धन नाथ की जय। मुरलीधारी भगवान की जय। बाल कृष्ण लाल की जय। आल कृष्ण भगवान का जो जन्म होने वाला है कृष्ण कन्हैया का, खूब एंजॉय से बढ़िया कथा सुनिए। और ऋषि भाई जो है अच्छी तरह से प्रसंग सुनाएंगे और परमानंद का आनंद लीजिए। खूब खुशी होकर कथा सुनिए, खूब आनंद लीजिए सबको। हरि ओम मा पवित्रः पवित्रो वा सर्वाव सांगदो विवाह यस्वरे पुंडरीकाक्षं सबाह्याभ्यंतर सुजे पुंडरीकाक्षः पुनाथो ओम केशवाय नमः स्वाहा।
ड्रिंक 3 टाइम।
ओम नारायणाय नमः स्वाहा। ओम माधवाय नमः स्वाहा। गोविंदेति हस्तौ वृक्षाल्य तथा पवित्रधारणं वा। ओम पवित्रेष्ठो वैष्णव्यो सावितरुवः व्रजम उत्पौराव्यक्षद्रेण पवित्रेण सुवर्चस्य रश्मिभिः तस्य पवित्रपदे पवित्रभूतस्य कामः पुने दक्षजेयं स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो
तिलक
स्वस्ति न तिलक कर लीजिए सबको। स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृषभद्रवाः स्वस्ति न ओघा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तारक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु।
take flour and rice your right hand.
हरि ओम आनो भद्राः जतमोजन्तो विश्वतो जबधासो अपरेदाशा उद्भेदाः देवानो यथा सदमिदमृधे आशान्नप्रायो वो रक्षेतारो दिवे दिवे देवानां भद्रासो मदेर्जो यतां देवा नागोराधिरभिनो निवर्तताम् देवानागो सखयमुपसे दिवा वयं देवान आयुः सगिरन्तो देवसे तान् पूर्वयानिमिदाहो महि वयं भगमित्रमदिति दक्षमश्रीधाम अर्जमाणां वर्णकोशोमस्मिना सरस्वतीनः शुभगामायुष्करः तन्नो पातो मायुर्भुवातु वेगज तन्पाता पृथ्वी तत्पिताद्योः तद्ग्रावाणः सोमसुतो मायो भूमस्तादुत्वेन श्रेणोदान् हृज्ञायोवम् समीशानं जगतस्तस्तु कसुमतेन्धेय येन्ममवसे होमहि वयं घानो यथा वेदवशमसद्विधे रक्षिता वायुरनुधाः स्वस्ति स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धस्रवः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तारक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु रेखादशवामरुतः कृष्णेमातरः शुभञ्जावनो वेदसै पूजकमायः अग्निजहुवा मानवः सूरजक्षासो विश्वैनो अवसागमन्तेह भद्रं कर्णेभिः श्रीनोदामदेवा भद्रं परसेवाध्याविर्याजितराः श्रीरैरङ्गै तुष्टो मा गुंसस्तनो दिव्यासे महिते वहितं जदायुः शतमेन्नु शरदो अन्तिदेव यतरानस्तकराजरसन्तनो नाम्ब उतराशो यतरपीतरो भवन्ति वानो पदया रीरिखदायुर्गन्तः आदितिरजौरादितिरान्तरिक्षमदितिर् माता सपिता सपुत्रः विश्वैर्निः पञ्चजना आदितिर्जातमदिर्जनिर्वान्ता यो शान्तिरन्तरिक्षं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वगो शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः कामा शान्तिरेधि यतो यतः समीहते ततो न अभयं गुरु सन्नः गुरुव्रजाभ्यो भयन्नः पशुभ्यः सुशान्तिर्भवतु श्रीमन्महागणाधिपतये नमः इष्टदेवताभ्यो नमः कुलदेवताभ्यो नमः ग्रामदेवताभ्यो नमः वास्तुदेवताभ्यो नमः स्थानदेवताभ्यो नमः लक्ष्मीनारायणाभ्यां नमः उमामहेश्वराभ्यां नमः सजीवरन्दराभ्यां नमः वाणीहिरण्यगर्भाभ्यां नमः माता पितृचरण देवताभ्यो नमो नमः सर्वेभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः सर्वेभ्यो ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमः निर्विघ्नमस्तु सुमुखश्चैकदन्तश्च कपिलो गजकर्णकः
दामोदरस्य विकटो विघ्ननाशो विनायकः
ॐ मृगे दुर्गणाध्यक्षो भालचन्द्रो गजाननः
द्वादशैतानि नामानि यावटे शृणुयादपि
क्रियारम्भे विवाहे च प्रवेशे निर्गमे तथा
सङ्ग्रामे सङ्कटे चैव विघ्नस्तस्य जायते
वर्धनं देवं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजम्
भद्रं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये
हीर्तितार्थं भोजतो यस्तुरासुरैः
सर्वविघ्नहरस्तस्मै गणाधिपतये नमः
सर्वमङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके
शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्ते
नायकं स्वरूपानं ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरात्
सरस्वतीं प्रणम्य सर्वकार्यार्थसिद्धये
पूजाकार्यार्थसिद्धे स्थापि सर्वेभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमो नमः प्रार्थना पूर्वक नमस्कारान् समर्पयामि नमस्करोमि ततः हस्ते साक्षाद्रव्यं चादाय संकल्पं कुर्युः
Take your right hand, flour, rice, and some money and water.
हरि ओम मा विष्णुर्विष्णुर्विष्णुः श्रीमद्भगवतो महापुरुषस्य विष्णुराज्ञया प्रवर्तमानस्य ब्रह्मणो नित्यतीव्रार्धेषु दक्षिण अफ्रीका खंडे क्षेत्रे देशे च डर्बन महानगरे डर्बन हिंदू टेम्पल देवस्थान देवालये च अधिक श्रावण मासे कृष्ण पक्षी आद्याय च दशम्यां तिथौ वासरः वासरस्तु गुरुवासरान्वितायां देवगुरु शेषेषु गृहेषु विधाय राशिस्थान षष्ठीवं ग्रह गुणगण विशेषण विधायां शुभ पुण्यतिथौ गोत्रः नानानां गोत्रेभ्यो
Your gotra and take your name.
मम आत्मनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणोक्त शास्त्रोक्त पुण्यफल प्राप्त्यर्थम् अप्राप्त लक्ष्मी प्राप्त्यर्थम् प्राप्त लक्ष्म्याः चिरकाल संरक्षणार्थम् सकल मन ईप्सित कामना सिद्ध्यर्थम् लोके सभायां राजद्वारे वा सर्वत्र यशो विजय लाभादि प्राप्त्यर्थम् श्री राधा कृष्ण चरवाल वृंद प्रीति प्राप्त्यर्थम श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण महाप्रसाद कृपा प्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थम पूर्व संकल्पित श्रीमद्भागवत सप्ताह पारायण अंगभूतम अत्य चतुर्थे अन्य स्थापित देवतानां पूजन तथा च श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराण व्यास पूजनं च करिष्ये। दीप पूजनम ओम अग्निर्जय स्वाहा शौर्य वर्जो ज्योतिर्वर्जः स्वाहा ज्योतिः शौर्यः शौर्यो ज्योतिः स्वाहा। लैंप पूजा 1 फ्लावर लैंप। दीपस्य देवतायै नमो नमः। सकलोपचारार्थ गंधाक्षपुष्पाणि समर्पयामि नमस्करोमि। ततः हाथ में फ्लावर हाथ में ले ले। सजिल जी आप बोलिए जरा, फूल हाथ में ले ले सब कोई जो भी यजमान है।
All 6 flowers in your hand.
एकदंतेन ध्यानम् ओम गणानंदा गणपतिको हवामहे प्रियानंदा प्रियको हवामहे सिद्धेनांदा सिद्धिको हवामहे वसो मम आहमजानि गर्भधमासुजासि गर्भधम्मा अम्बे अंबिके बालिके नमानेत कशन शासतसुखः सुभद्रिकान् वीरवासिनीम्बा तद्वायामि ब्रह्मणा वन्दमान सदा शास्त्री जजमानो अभिर्भिः अहेडमान वरुणे हवोदरिचकोषमान आयुः श्रेष्ठते लक्ष्मीकमत्या बहुरात्रे पार्श्वे नक्षत्राणि रूपमस्य व्याप्तं वा ईशान्यखाणं मुम्बैखाणं सर्वलोकं वैखाणं। ओम गौरी पद्मास देवे धात्रि विजयादि देव देव पुष्टे तथा तुष्टे आत्मा कुलदेवताः ग्रह विप्रायः एकां विषयाणां मोहविकमोर्चकोषामग्रभ उपयामग्रहेतो सेन्द्राद्वाजुषतमं वंशे विभूषितकरान्नवनीरजाभा गीताम्बराधरोषा पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखानेत्रा कृष्णातरं किमवितास्त्वमहं न जाने। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतः क्लेशनाशाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। निगमकल्पतरुद्रव संयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। सर्वेभ्यो श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराण पुरुषोत्तम सहित सर्वेभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमो नमः। आदियोः वाद्यं हस्तयोर्घं आत्मनि सर्वांगी स्नानपयात् पञ्चाम दष्टानम्। हरि ओम मा सहस्रशीर्षः पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपाद शभोमिभो सर्वतन्त्रादेशाङ्गुलम् पुरुषैवेदको सर्वञ्जलभूतं भाव्यम् उदामृतशेषानो जगन्नेनादिहति
विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं
देवीजनदियः सरस्वतीमभियन्ति सस्रोदशः सरस्वती च पञ्चधासो देशे भवसरिक शुद्धबालः रुद्राय वसुमते कर्णाजाम अवलिप्ता रौद्रान भोरूपाः पार्जन्याः शुद्धोदकस्नानं समर्पयामि। शुद्धोदकस्नानान्ते सर्वोपचारादिगन्धादिपुष्पाणि नानापरिमल सौभाग्यद्रव्याणि समर्पयामि। धूपमाघ्रापयामि प्रत्यक्षदीपं दर्शयामि। वनस्पतिरसोद्भूतो गन्धाढ्योत्तमः आग्रे सर्वदेवानां धूपोऽयं प्रतिगृह्यतात्मा। धूपमाघ्रापयामि प्रत्यक्षदीपं दर्शयिवेद्यं निवेदयामि। ओम नाभ्याया श्रीदन्तर्जगोधेष्णो देवभूषमवर्तत परिघामोमृदिशालोकामाकल्पयन्। ओम प्राणाय स्वाहा ओम अपानाय स्वाहा ओम व्यानाय स्वाहा ओम भूतानाय स्वाहा ओम समानाय स्वाहा। नैवेद्यमनिवेद्यामध्येवानीयम् उत्तरापोषान् हस्तवृक्षान् मुखवृक्षान् समर्पयामि। मुखवासार्थे भोगी फल ताम्बूलीलालवङ्गं समर्पयामि। पितायाः पूजा सात्पुण्यासे दक्षिणां दक्षिणां समर्पयामि। ततः प्रार्थयेत
एक फ्लावर
विघ्नेश्वराय वरदाय सुराय लंबोदराय सकलाय या श्री स्वयं लक्ष्मी नमस्ते सुमंगलाय शुभास्त्राय जलाधिनाथाय नमो नमस्ते ब्रह्मा त्रिपुरांतकारी शनिराहु केतव सर्वे ग्रहा शांतिकरा भवन्तु आत्मना कुलदेवताः गणेशेनाधिकारे पूजा व्यासो हनुमानश्च विभीषणः कृपा परशुरामश्च सप्तैश्चैर्जीविनः हरे क्लेशनाशाय ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुषुरासुरगणा देवाः तस्मै नमः। कृषाणां ज्ञानिनाम् अग्रगण्यं रघुपति प्रियभक्तं सरस्वती जयमुना गोदावरी नर्मदा कावेरी सरयो महेन्द्रतनया सरस्वती वेदिका चित्रवते महासुरनदे ख्याता जया गंडकी पूर्णा पूर्णजले देवकी परमानंदं कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरु शिवाचार्यं पंगुं लंघयते यत्कृपातमहं वंदे परमानंदमाधव सर्वेभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमो नमः। प्रार्थना पूर्वपुरस्कारान् समर्पयामि। यदक्षरवदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव। प्रसीद परमेश्वर, प्रसीद परमेश्वर। यं ब्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं वैपायनो विरहकातरया जुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयकलाकरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराण पुरुषोत्तम देवताभ्यो नमो नमः। पुष्पमालां परिधापयामि, गंधाक्ष पुष्पाणि समर्पयामि, नमस्करोमि। भागवत जी का पूजा की फूल चढ़ाइए। ओखदेहि प्रतिमो दध्वान् बकुवदेहि प्रसोपरिः अस्वायुव सजितरविदधप्पारैष्णवः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराण पुरुषोत्तम देवताभ्यो नमो नमः। सकलोपचाराद्य गन्धाक्ष पुष्पाणि समर्प्य पुष्पमालां परिधापयामि। ततः व्यासाय व्यास रूप, हाँ व्यास जी को हार पहना पहने। व्यासाय व्यासरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मविदे वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे उल्लारविन्दाय तपत्रणेन्द्र तेन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमया प्रदीपः। व्यासेभ्यो व्यासकमलेभ्यो नमो नमः। प्रार्थना पूर्व पुरस्कारान् समर्पयामि। आरती तैयार है?
ओम चंद्रमामनसं
जातं कक्षोः सूरजो
अजायतं श्रोत्राणि श्री भागवत भगवान की
भागवत भगवान की जय। आज के आनंद की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। नमोऽस्मन्ताय सहस्रमूर्धये सहस्रपादाक्ष शिरोरमाहवे सहस्रनाम्ने पुरुषाय शाश्वते सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः। बोलो व्यास जी भगवान की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. Our revered acharyas, Panditjis, visiting Panditjis, representatives of various organizations, and devotees, welcome to DHT's fourth day of our Bhagavad Katha. Over the past few days, we have been blessed to hear insightful and enlightening discourses from our Panditjis, which have been inspirational or at the least aspirational. Hopefully, we can all put into practice at least some of the things that we have learned, whether it is doing more puja or chanting Bhagwan's name, and ultimately taking home positivity. Pandit Ji Rishi Maharaj will be doing the discourse this evening. Therefore, I will not delay anymore, as I am sure you are all eagerly await this discourse. I now hand you over to Pandit Ji Rishi Maharaj.
ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ बुद्धिं देहि यशो देहि कवित्वं देहि देहि मे मूढत्वं च हरिदेहि त्राहि मां शरणागतम्। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ कस्तूरितिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभं नासाग्रे करमोटिकं करतले वेणुं करे कङ्कणं सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितं कण्ठे च मुक्तावलिं गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूड़ामणिः। श्री राधे कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री बाके बिहारी लाल की जय। श्री नंद नंदन भगवान की जय। उपस्थित आचार्यगण, पुरोहितगण और भागवत प्रेमियों, हमारा प्रणाम स्वीकार कीजिए। I'm getting a message. Yeah, it says that most of you will not be without teeth in your next life. But there's cautionary note as well that some of us are going to have a few teeth only. तो आज जोर जोर से भागवत नाम कहो। ओम नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Hare Krishna Chandra Bhagavan की जय.
तो आज हम लोग दशम स्कंद पर कुछ ध्यान देंगे. We're going to focus a little bit on the 10th canto, and in this evening's katha I plan to talk about Dharti Mata's appeal to Bhagwan and Vasudeva and Devaki's Vivaha or weddings. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the cruelty of Kansa and focus especially on Bhagwan's avatar and the Janma Utsav that followed. That is the celebration that followed upon Bhagwan's arrival in Gokul. So just a little bit of background. Raja Parikshit had asked Sukhdevji to please explain the avatars of Balramji and Sri Krishna. So why did he ask Sukhdevji and not anybody else? Whenever we want authoritative information, we must get to the best authority. And see, Sukhdevji was the son of Ved Vyasji. Right? His name Shuka. Shuka means parrot. And you know, a parrot, everything that it hears, it repeats. So Sukhdevji was repeating whatever he learned without any additions or removing anything from that. Exactly what he heard. Therefore, he was excellently qualified to give the information to Raja Parikshit. So, Kathito Vansha Vistaro Bhavata Soma Suryayoho Ragyam Chobhaya Vanshyanam Charitam Paramadbhutam. कृपा करके यह अद्भुत कथा विस्तार से कहिए. So he says, please. See, first word is please. कृपा करके, please describe the avatar of Balramji and Krishna Bhagwan. So he's asking with the utmost humility. Any students among us, and of course we all should be lifelong students, that is how we must approach a guru or a teacher, with humility, not to show how much you know, but to say, let me get as much information as I can from Guruji, with complete humility. So he wants to hear this katha, not to show what he knows, and he already knows a lot, but because he wants to express his love. He wants to hear this katha out of love for Bhagwan. Bhakti bhav badhane ke liye. He wants to increase the bhakti that he has. So many of you have heard all of these kathas before. Why are you here then if you've heard it before? I'm hoping you are here for the same reason that Raja Parikshit is asking this question. He wants to increase his bhakti to Bhagwan. So he also accepts that Sri Krishna is the supreme protector, and he knows this from experience. If you can remember the katha relating to Raja Parikshit while he was in the womb, it says, Dronyastra viplushta midam madange santan bijam kuru pandavanam jugopa kukshim gata atma chakro matushcha meyah sharanam gatayah. So he's saying to Shukdev when Ashwatthama tried to destroy me, tried to burn me using the Brahmastra while I was in my mother's womb. Who was his mother? Uttara. We heard this yesterday, I think. So while he was in Uttara's womb, Ashwatthama wanted to destroy him. And Bhagwan protected, Parikshit says, Bhagwan protected me with his chakra. But why did he protect Parikshit? He says, when my mother took refuge, Sharan mein gayi. So if we want protection from Bhagwan, the condition is given here. Uttara had taken refuge in Bhagwan. If we take refuge, then he is the protector of all who seek refuge. So Raja Parikshit was listening to this Bhagavad Katha, and you know the reason he was told that he's going to die in 7 days, etc. And very calmly, he decided, death is going to come. I'm not going to be able to change that, but I can change my own mindset, my own thinking, and my own future by listening to Bhagavad Katha. So he was listening to this Bhagavad Katha, and he had no concern for hunger or thirst, na pyastha, na bhukta. Keval katha sunne ka pyas. He only had thirst to listen to the katha. So because of his love for Bhagavad Katha, he did not feel hunger and thirst for food and water. So when a student asks like that, the teacher naturally will oblige. So Sukhdevji began relating. It says, Bhumir Dripta Nripa Vyajah Detyanika Shatayutehe Akranta Bhuri Bharena Brahmanam Sharanam Yayo. तो उस समय कई राक्षस लोग अपने बुरे व्यवहार, बुरे आदतों से, बुरे कर्म से पृथ्वी पर बोझ हो रहा था, बोझ डाल दिया था. They were becoming a burden on धरती माता. Why? All these demons, ये असुर लोग, in the form of kings and in the form of leaders, puffed up with pride and power and positions of authority, they began to persecute and cause harm to the innocent of the world. And when that happens, then it is that action becomes a burden on Dharti Mata. So rulers and leaders are a burden on earth when they act contrary to dharma. जो धर्म के विपरीत कार्य करते हैं, तो वो धरती का बोझ हो जाता है. They become a burden when they ignore scripture. मनमानी करते हैं. They do as they please. शास्त्र का अपेक्षा करते हैं, शास्त्र का उपेक्षा करते हैं. और जब धोखा से अपने लिए धन इकट्ठा करते हैं और नागरिकों का देखभाल नहीं करते हैं. So when leaders and people in positions of power act for their own selfish interests, amassing wealth through unjust means and at the expense of the innocent people over whom they are supposed to take care, then they are a burden on Dharti Mata. So they are disregarding their duty to the citizens. They are disregarding their duty to those who they are supposed to serve. Then we become a burden on earth. So Dharti Mata, what did she do? She assumed the form of a cow. But the burden of all this evil, ye paap ka boj, overwhelmed her with sorrow to such an extent that tears began rolling down her face. And in this form, she went to Brahmaji, completely at a loss of how to overcome the evil that was taking over this world. And she explained the complete cause of her sorrow. So this description I gave you just now of who becomes a burden on earth, I'm sure it reminds us of the situation that many of us find ourselves in, not only in South Africa, but in the world. If you think of countries in North Africa, if you think of Russia and Ukraine, if you think of the Middle East, if you even think of so-called advanced nations like the United States and Britain and France, kitna atyachar hota hai wahan, right? So Dharti Mata explained the complete source of her problem to Brahmaji. तो धरती माता ने गाय का रूप धारण किया और बुराई का बोझ ने उन्हें बहुत दुख दिया, चेहरे पर आंसू बहने लगी और वो ब्रह्मा जी के पास गई और अपना सारा दुख का कारण बताया. So when we are overburdened by the evil of this world, then we too should seek help from the appropriate source. The appropriate source can be an ombudsman. The appropriate source can be a guru. The appropriate source can be the ballot box. So when we look at this katha, we must bring it into our practical lives. So when she explained her problem, it says here, apni puri kasht sunai, puri kasht. She didn't hide anything. Right? You know, if my granddaughter comes home and tells me, Nana, my teacher doesn't like me. She's always scolding me. It will upset me. Shouldn't it upset me? It would. So what would be the normal response? Let me go and address this issue at the school. But when I get to the school, they tell me, but she's not doing her homework. So she didn't give me the full source of her difficulty. And therefore, my response was inappropriate. If you want the appropriate response, do not hide anything from those that you seek advice from. Advice and guidance will be given appropriate to the special circumstances that affect you. And therefore, you must be open with your guru or with whomever you are seeking guidance and support. So Brahma धरती माता के साथ जो गाय के रूप में थे और देवताओं के साथ भी क्षीर सागर के तट पर गए और पुरुष सूक्त का और अन्य स्थितियों का पाठ किया. So Brahma ji, together with Dharti Mata and all the devatas, because see, Dharti Mata was just like a representative of all the devatas. Because the devatas operate in this realm of the dharti. They provide all our requirements, isn't that so? So if they are prevented from doing their duty, then they too are suffering. So Dharti Mata, together with all the devatas and Brahmaji, they went and they sang a stuti. Sahasra Shirkha Purusha Sahasrat, right? The Purush Sukta. They sang and other stutis. And this prayer, this stuti, this prayer that they engaged in was so sincere. It came from their heart. So that is, see, we must understand what prayer is. Prayer is an expression of the loving feeling that you have towards Bhagwan. We can do that prayer through rituals, and that's perfectly in order. But we must understand that when we are offering a flower to Bhagwan, when we are giving him Chandan Tika, when we are offering him Naivedya, all those things are expressing what we feel in our hearts for Bhagwan. And if it is expressing what you feel from your heart, and it really is a sincere prayer, then it will make you reach a completely calm and different mindset. Right? So, they were so sincere that it says, Giram samadho gagane samiritam nishamya vedhastri dashanuvachaha. That Brahmaji got into a state of samadhi. Samadhi, I don't like the English translation for it, but I'll have to use it. There's no other word I can find. Lots of people say it's a state of trance. But the word trance has got lots of different connotations with it. But see, Brahmaji's samadhi was not like the common connotation that we have with trance, right? So we too must try to reach the state of samadhi when we are doing puja. We should strive to reach that stage. How can you do that? When you are completely absorbed in Bhagwan, your entire thinking, your eyes, your physical body, everything must be completely absorbed in Bhagwan. There will be no distraction and you will be completely calm. Right? When you are completely calm, then there is no, you will only get one telephone call. Not 3 or 4 telephone calls and you must put one on hold and talk to the other one. Okay? Well, that's a state of samadhi. You'll have communication only between you and Bhagwan. And that's what happened to Brahmaji. Samadhi ki avastha mein Brahmaji ne Akashvani suni. Right? But see, to get Akashvani, as I already suggested, the network mustn't be busy. The network mustn't be busy. It must only have one channel of communication to Bhagwan. That is samadhi. When you see, hear, feel, smell nothing but Bhagwan, that is samadhi. Right? So he received this Akashvani. And what is Akashvani? Some say that it is a voice from heaven. But communication can come to you even from hell. That's not what happened here. Akashvani is not that kind of message. Here, an Akashvani came, that it says a message from heaven or a message from above. Some say it's a divine message. But it can also be interpreted as your own mind, the higher levels of your thinking, delivering a message to you. So that means the message that you receive will be dependent on how you think. If your mindset is a prayerful mindset, right, then the message will be encouraging and motivating. While a negative mindset, when you are doing all the wrong things and thinking all the negative thoughts, it will probably deliver a frightening message. Let's see what message Brahmaji received. So Bhagwan ko, this is the message. Bhagwan ko prithvi ka kasht ka pata hai. He heard this, that Bhagwan is aware of the difficulties that you are experiencing. Bhagwan knows everything, isn't that so? और वसुदेव का घर में प्रकट होंगे. He will be born in the house of Vasudev. So that is the message that Brahmaji got. In other words, his mindset was one of hope. So he got this message of hope from Bhagwan. If it was one of giving up, then he's going to get a frightening message. Isn't that so? So Brahmaji went to Bhagwan full of hope, full of trust that he will deliver. And that's the message he got. So Brahmaji then informed all the devatas of what he heard, and he gave them instructions that they too must appear in the Yadukul and cooperate with Bhagwan and help him to fulfill to engage in his leelas. So all the devatas, just like in Sri Ram Katha, the devatas also came before Bhagwan to pave the way, to create the right environment and be ready to assist in his leelas. So here too, all the devatas are coming down. They're going to come to assist in the leelas. He also told them that Shesh Bhagwan will appear as the elder brother of Sri Krishna. Yesterday we heard, I think, that in the Ram avatar, Lakshman or Sheshji was the younger brother. Here, he is the elder brother. But one more thing, he says, also appearing will be the Yog Maya of Bhagwan. The Yog Maya of Bhagwan. Which Yog Maya, what is this? That which fascinates and influences the entire creation. When I say fascinate, it doesn't just make you happy. It fascinates to the level that you become so engrossed and entangled in it. That is Yog Maya. तो भगवान की योग माया जो पूरी सृष्टि को मोहित और प्रवाहित करती है, वो भी अवतार लेंगी. And in this section, we are introduced to all the role players in Bhagwan's play, in this Leela. All the role players, all the devatas are there, Sheshji is there, Yog Maya is there, right? But who is the director of this Leela? Bhagwan himself is the director. He will tell them what to do. So you will hear later on about Narad Muni also being one of the role players. Don't misinterpret his actions, because the director of the play is Bhagwan himself. So when the devatas heard this, it gave them a lot of hope and solace. We listen to a bhajan now. Shrimad.
गइये चरैया माखन चुरैया, गइये चरैया माखन चुरैया, दीनों की नैया तुम ही खिवैया, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, श्री कृष्ण गोविंद ठाकुर हमारे प्राणों से प्यारे, ठाकुर हमारे प्राणों से प्यारे, तुम हो हमारे हम हैं तुम्हारे, हे कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, गोविंद मेरो है गोपाल मेरो है, गोविंद मेरो है गोविंद मेरो है गोपाल मेरो है, शिवा के बिहारी नंदलाल मेरो है, शिवा के बिहारी नंदलाल मेरो साधारण हरि गोविंद बोलो, राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे कृष्ण कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे कृष्ण कृष्ण, 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 राधे राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे कृष्ण कृष्ण, राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे कृष्ण कृष्ण।
की जय जय की जय।
Now we're going to move to Mathura. I'm sure you all like to go there. So, in Mathura now, Vasudeva, who was the son of Raja Shursen, he had just married Devaki. And who was Devaki? The daughter of Raja Devak. And they were seated on the chariot, Bidai ke samay. After the wedding, Bidai is taking place. to depart after the wedding now to their own homes. And Devaki was the sister of Kansa. And Kansa was escorting Vasudev and Devaki on the chariot with the intention of pleasing Devaki because he had so much of love for his sister. Right? So Devaki Kansa ki chacheri bahan thi, Kaka's daughter. That's how he was. She was a sister. These days we say cousin and all of that, but bahan is the correct term. Whether it is Kaka's daughter or not, it is still a bahan. Cousin is a modern word. So कंस की चचेरी बहन थे और कंस कौन थे? राजा उग्रसेन का बेटा। कंस देवकी को प्रसन्न करने के लिए दोनों दुल्हा और दुल्हन को रथ पर बैठाकर ले जा रही थी विदाई में। शंख तूर्य मृदंगांश्च नेदुर्दुन्दुभय समं प्रयाण प्रक्रमे तावद् वरवधोः सुमंगलं पथि प्रग्रहिणं कंसं आभाष्याः शरीरवाक् अस्यास्त्वाम् अष्टमो गर्भो हन्तायां वहसे बुधः। So how was this Vidai going? It says Shankar, Surya, Mridanganscha. Shank, Mridang and other musical instruments were played to heighten the auspiciousness and the joy around the bride and the groom. रास्ते में कंस ने आकाशवाणी सुनी. Now Kansa is hearing an Akashvani on the way. Remember that the Akashvani, as I described it, is a reflection of one's own thoughts. It is your consciousness, actually. You know, they say his conscience is troubling him. Right? So that is influenced by your thinking. Your thinking influences your behavior, and we know what kind of behavior Kansa was involved in, right? So the word in this line here, Pati Pragrahinam Kansam Abhashyaha Sharirvak. Sharirvak. The word Sharirvak means a voice from a body that is not there, an invisible source, an invisible body. So that's what is the Akashvani that he is hearing. Sharirvak means he can hear a voice, he cannot see where it is coming from. But Sharirvak can also mean, Sharir means body and Vak means language. It means body language. So when a person is stressed, he doesn't have to tell you I'm stressed. His body language will tell you that. When he's afraid, his body language will tell you that. When he's happy, his body language will tell you that. That is why when you go to people's houses, Atiti, the smile on the host's face will tell you that is the body language. Oh, how nice to see you. Isn't that so? I'm sure that's how you welcome visitors in your home. Right? So the body language, Kansa's body language was one of fear. Why should he be afraid? He was such a powerful person. Think of powerful leaders in this world. Are they resting calmly in peace, or are they always worried what's going to happen next? If they are doing all the right things, they'll be calm and peace and tranquil. If they're doing anything wrong, there will always be fear. So anybody who practices cruelty and other immoral behavior, corruption, illegal business practices, etc., they will always live in fear. Think about a person who deals in drugs. If you've seen these people, they never still, they're always looking this side. You know, there's fear always there. The body language shows that. Isn't that so? Think of a person who is running an illegal business. Every time the policeman goes past, his blood pressure goes up. Isn't that so? Okay. Think about the person who is driving a vehicle and he hasn't renewed the license. Okay, don't put your hands up. So these kinds of people will always be in fear, and our body language will show that. Imagine even the most innocent person to be a threat to him. So that's what Kansa was experiencing. And what did the Akashvani tell him? He says, "Are Murk, jisko tu rath par le ja rahe hai, uski 8वें गर्भ की संतान आपको मार डालेगा." Whom you are escorting with so much of joy, you fool, the 8th pregnancy of that will result in a person who is going to kill you. So the child born of Devaki's 8th pregnancy will kill you. And this enraged Kansa. See, anybody who does something wrong and somebody is a threat to the wrongdoing, they become enraged. They become upset. I couldn't achieve my negative purposes. Although it's negative, he is the one who gets most upset. Right? So what did he do? He picked up his sword, talwar nikala. Or he grabbed Devaki by a hair, jotha. Right? Because these days, many don't have a jotha to catch on to. The men have, some men have. I don't. Okay. So he picked up the sword and he grabbed her hair, making ready to remove her from this earth, to kill her. So I said earlier, most wrongdoers act in this way. They want to remove all who stand on the evil path. Okay. So what happens? Witnesses are murdered. Aren't we reading about that? There are assassinations taking place. Hits are put on witnesses. False allegations are made against witnesses to discredit them. So all of this is done so that they can continue with their bad habits. Actually, what should happen is, when you are caught doing something wrong, or when you yourself realize you are doing something wrong, or when somebody points out to you that you are doing something wrong, the correct course of action should be, let me change. But here they are saying, don't tell me what to do, I will continue. The message is coming to him that what you are doing is wrong. But what is he saying? I will continue, you don't tell me what to do. How many of us are like this? I know when we were little children, our parents told us to do something. In our minds, we said, what this old man knows, I'll do what I want. We didn't have the guts to tell them that. If you knew my father, you'll know nobody will have the guts to tell him that. Yeah. Okay, but that is the immaturity of youth speaking. And we can overlook that. But here, Kansa is a ruler, he's a leader. He's supposed to be a mature and responsible adult in charge of thousands of people. Rulers are in charge of millions and billions of people. They cannot behave like little children and say, don't tell me what to do. Okay? So now let's compare how Kansa reacted when he heard this Akashvani. This Akashvani was actually a prediction that you are going to die soon at the hands of your nephew. That was a prediction. And a similar prediction was made to Raja Parikshit. He was told, in 7 days, you will also be dying. How did Kansa react to this notice of death? How did he react? His reaction of anger and stress. That's what. It was anger and stress. That's how he reacted. How did Raja Parikshit react? It's inevitable. I'm going to die. Let me do something good so that I'm in control of my future. I'm in control of my destiny. Okay? So, Parikshit calmly listened to Bhagavad Katha. And Kansa lost his cool. So, reaction of anger and stress will not make the inevitable go away. Okay? Actually, it will create more fear. Anger and stress will create more disturbance. And it will require a higher dose of pressure tablets. Isn't that so? While calmly accepting that which is inevitable and preparing for it in a tranquil and wise manner, like Parikshit did, will pave the way for a glorious future. Okay? So this should tell us when we get the consequence of some of our past action, that consequence is inevitable because the action has already taken place. You cannot undo that action, therefore you cannot undo the consequence. That means it is going to happen. How should you approach it? Like Parikshit. Engage in activities that will keep you calm and build your inner strength to face the negative consequences of your past action and learn from that, not to repeat that same past action. That must be our approach, like Parikshit. Atone for your wrongdoing. By listening to Bhagavad Katha, that's a form of atonement. Okay? So Kansa पापी थे, निर्लज था और देवी की स्त्री के रूप में महिला है और बहन भी है. She is his sister and still he wants to kill her. It shows how inhuman, how much cruelty there is in him. Okay? So Vasudev ji, being a newly married husband, he must protect his wife. Of course, if you are not newly married, you also have to protect your wife. Okay? So, you know, they say new broom sweeps clean. It mustn't be like that between husband and wife. It must always be new. Okay? So our relationships must be based completely on love and respect for each other. So Vasudev ji realized that he needs to protect Devaki because that's one of the vows that he made in his wedding. And he must make sure, if you make a vow, you must fulfill it. But he knew that he could not succeed by fighting Kansa, who had, through irregular and violent means, got the support of many warriors and soldiers. He had the army in his control. Right? Think about when a coup takes place. It is because the army is in somebody's control. And it's very difficult for anyone to challenge the person. Isn't that so? So here, Kansa was that kind of a dictator. He had complete control. He therefore, Vasudevji then, see, this is wise thinking. He says, I'm not going to take a sword and fight Kansa because I won't win. So he began to praise Kansa and to advise him. He praised him and advised him. What did he say? He said, you know, Devaki is a lady and you are a strong warrior. Secondly, she is your sister and you are a strong warrior. Thirdly, it is the auspicious occasion of her wedding and you are a strong warrior. So every time Kansa heard you are a strong warrior, his ego became bigger and bigger, you see. So that was the strategy that Vasudeva was using. And he then asked, being such a strong warrior, how can you want to kill a lady who is your sister on her wedding day? How can you want to do that? So this is Vasudeva's advice, not only to Kansa, but to all cruel-minded people. What is the advice? That violence against women is unacceptable. That's why he says, she is a lady. And a warrior will not fight a lady, will not hurt a lady in any way. So this is Women's Month. Yesterday was Women's Day. We need to remember this advice. He also said to him that those who are born will certainly die. Vasudeva told Kansa that those who are born will certainly die. And upon death, the new birth is determined by one's past karma. Right? Chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. Those who are born are certainly going to die. In other words, he's telling Kansa, why are you frightened of death? It's going to happen to you anytime. At some time, it's going to happen to you. But remember this, that your next birth will be determined by your actions of this birth. Therefore, apna karma ko sudharo, change your behavior now, so that you can dictate a better birth for yourself in the future. So our future is in our own hands. Not in the hands of the teacher, not in the hands of parents, not in the hands of the environment, but completely according to our own karma, our own behavior. What we do today will determine what's going to happen to us in the future. What we did in the past is now happening. The consequences of that is now happening with us. So therefore, you cannot change what is happening now, but you can certainly change the future. So when they say that the future is in your own hands, this is what it means, that you must change what you are doing now. Okay? See, there was a very wise old man living in a village. Such a wise man. जो भी समस्या होता था वहाँ गांव में, उनसे पूछते थे. Any difficulty that people had, they went to this wise man to ask him for advice. लेकिन दो नटखट लड़के भी थे. There were two naughty boys there as well in that village. So they decided, we are going to prove that this man is not all that wise. So they went to him, and the one boy said, this boy has got a butterfly in his hand. He's holding it behind his back. You tell me whether the butterfly is dead or it is alive. So the boys knew, if he says the butterfly is alive, they'll smash it and show him that you are wrong. If he says it is dead, they'll just open his hand and let it fly away and show him that he is wrong. So whether he says it is dead or whether he says it is alive, the answer will be wrong. So the man says, the answer to your question of whether the butterfly is dead or alive is completely in your hands. So the answer to our question, what's going to happen to us in the future, is completely in our hands. You can smash it and die and suffer, or you can be free in the future. We must decide on that. So, Esha tavanuja bala kripana putri kopamaha hantum narhasi kalyanim imam tvam deenavatsalaha. So he said to her again, वह आपकी छोटी बहन है और एक बच्चा है. She is small, she is much younger than you. वो आपके लिए बेटी की तरह है. She is like a child and a daughter to you. So Vasudev ji tried explaining to Kansa, but क्रूरता को हम नहीं बदल सकते हैं. Cruelty is very hard for us to change. The change must come from within the cruel person. And Vasudev then realized that I'm not making any impact on Kansa. So you have to find another way. Pradaya mrityave putran mochayate kripanam imam sutame yadi jayeran mrityurvana mriyate chet. So he says, इसीलिए मैं अपने बच्चे को मृत्यु रूपी कंस को दे दूं. He's thinking to himself, when my children are born, I will hand them over to Kansa, who is a form of death. मृत्यु रूपी कंस को. और देवकी के जीवन को बचाऊंगा, and I will save Devaki's life. So some may say he was very selfish. He was under petticoat government. He is looking after his wife at the expense of his child. But I didn't read the full part. So he says, संभव है कि मेरा पुत्र ही कंस को मार डाले. That if I hand over my child to Kansa and he is in his care, my son may eventually kill him. Right? So he decided to hand over his future child to Kansa and thus save Devaki's life. But he understood that there is a good chance that his son will kill Kansa, and thus both Devaki and his child will be saved. Hope. See? His strategy was followed because he had hope. He didn't give up. When Kansa was not impressed with the discussion, that the advice that he gave him, he didn't give up. He still found a way to be hopeful. So Vasudev and Devaki, for them, this was the best decision. Because if he didn't do this, Devaki would be killed immediately. But in doing this, he is delaying the death of Devaki, but he is also latching on to the opportunity that Kansa may die before that. So he informed Kansa that Devaki is not a threat to you. It is her child that you have to fear. That was what the Akashvani said. So I will hand over her children to you. मैं उसके बच्चों को तुम्हें सौंप दूंगा. So he didn't hand them over to be killed. सौंप दूंगा means I'm handing them over for you, for your protection. Right? तो कंस जानता था कि वसुदेव के वचन पर भरोसा किया जा सकता है. Kansa knew that whatever Vasudev says, we can rely on that. We can trust him. क्योंकि वसुदेव हमेशा सच्चा था. He was always truthful. So he abandoned his plan to kill Devaki. So what is it that saved Devaki here? Was it the good relationship that existed between Kansa and Devaki, this relationship of love? Earlier he was so happy to be escorting them on the bidai. He wanted to please her. Was it that saved Devaki? Was it Kansa's good nature? Did he have a good nature? Or was it Vasudev's record of being truthful that saved her? So see how important Satya hai, truth. Truth may bring some difficulties in the short term, especially when you look at it from the mundane point of view, from the material point of view. Okay? So it may bring some difficulty in the short term, but in the long term, it is always beneficial and brings positive consequences. So truth is something that we should all honor. We must make sure that we are truthful, we are sincere in everything that we do and say. What we say and what we do must be in sync. That is what we mean by being truthful. You don't smile when a visitor comes and say, you had to come at lunchtime. See, that is not being sincere and truthful. Sincere means that smile must show how you are feeling in your heart, right? So this truth that we are all discussing when we do the Satyanarayan Katha, we must make that truth a part of our everyday life, not only on the Katha day. The truth must permeate every facet of our life. Then we will benefit from Satyanarayan Katha. अथ काल उपावृते देवकी सर्वदेवता पुत्रान् प्रसूषुवे चाष्टौ कन्यां चैवान्वतः सरम्. So in due course, kala upavrite, in due course, with time, prasushuve. Prasushu means she gave birth. Ashto. Ashto means 8. Cha kanyam. 8 sons and 1 daughter. Devaki gave birth to. Or Devaki kept to the promise. Sorry, Vasudeva kept to the promise. He handed over the first child to Kansa. When the first child was born, he handed the son over to Kansa. And Kansa was very, very happy at Vasudeva's commitment to truth. And therefore, he said to him, no, you take the child back. The child is no threat to me. What made him change his view? The fact that Vasudeva so willingly handing over the child. The truth that Vasudeva was representing changed his mind. So can you see how truth is beginning to benefit? So he said, "Mujhe uske koi dar nahi hai." Because he remembered the Akashvani as well. आठवें गर्भ की संतान आपको मार डालेगा. ये तो आठवें गर्भ नहीं है, पहला गर्भ है. So at this point, I think we'll listen to some chanting, maybe Om Namo Narayanaya. Om
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Vasudevaya Vasudeva. Vasudeva. Vasudevaya Vasudeva. Gokul. Vasudevaya Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya Vasudevaya Vasudevaya.
Bolo Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai. So when Kansa handed the child back, with that kind of mindset, there was a strong chance that evil will not be destroyed. Therefore, Narad Muni followed the direction given by his director, who is Bhagwan Sri Krishna, and he came and told Kansa that all the devatas have already taken birth, and they are here preparing the way to destroy all the Rakshasas. And that was all that he had to say, because there was a lot of negativity in Kansa's mind already. And this little bit more put him back to where he used to be. And says, Mataram Pitaram Bhratrin Sarvanscha Suhridastatha Gnanti Shasu Tripol Lubdha Rajana Prayasho Bhuvihi. That even Suhrid, friends, Gnati, Matrin, mother, Pitra, father will all be killed by people who want to achieve their evil ways, right? They want power at any cost. People, you know, are killing for promotion posts. They're killing for insurance payouts. Isn't that so? They are killing to maintain their drug habits, to remove competition in business. And all such people are no better than Kansa, because Kansa wanted to kill his own family. So we should never engage in such behavior. He actually imprisoned his father, Raja Ugrasen, and he took over the kingdom. By imprisoning his father, you know, our parents are the source of all our good values. So when you imprison, when you lock up these values, you are not expressing those good values. So what are you going to express? All the negativity, isn't that so? So when you look at this locking up of Ugrasen and locking up of Devaki and Vasudeva, those are, you are putting a barrier between you and the good values in your environment. You are not allowing those good values to influence your behavior. And if those good values do not influence your behavior, if these divine qualities do not come into you, then we are all doomed. Right? So all the devatas now, they appeared to be part of Bhagwan's Leela as directed by Brahmaji. But Kansa, we know, did not benefit from the divine influence around him. Atha kala upavrite devaki sarva devataha putran prasushuve chasto kanyam chovanya vatsaram. So devaki sarva devataha, all the good tendencies were represented in Devaki. But that could not rub off onto Kansa. We are all blessed with good tendencies, these wonderful Divya Shakti. But if we keep these good tendencies locked away, then they will be of no value. And our evil tendencies will predominate. हमें इन दैविक गुणों को जागृत रखना चाहिए. We must keep them awake, not in a state of sleep. In this way, पापी विचारों और कार्यों पर काबू पाना चाहिए. When we keep our values alive, then we restrict all the evil tendencies. We must make conscious efforts to express the divine values that are within us, that we are all blessed with. So Kansa did not have any of these positive influences in his life, and therefore pralamba baka chanura trinavarta mahashanehe mushtika arishta vid bhutaneka shidhenu kahe anyesha asura bhupalair banabhomadi bhiryutah yadunam kadanam chakre palimagada sashayah. So what did he do? He began to persecute and trouble all the Yadus. And he was supported by various other Asuras, like Pralamb and Chanur and Banasur and Narakasur, Jarasan, Putana. All of these names are mentioned because soon you will hear how they are all being destroyed. They are all taking on the side of evil. But as Bhagwan says, whenever there is a rise of adharma, I will come to destroy that. Isn't that so? So this adharma, represented by Pralamb and Chanur and Banasur, Narkasur, Jarasant, Putana, and in the Ram avatar by Ravan, those will be destroyed. Eketam anurundhana gyataya paryupasate hateshu shashtu baleshu devakya Ograseninah Saptamo Vaishnavam Dhama Yama Ananta Pratyakshate Garbo Babhuva Devakya Harsha Shoka Vivardhanah. तो 6 बालकों को मार डाला, कंस ने 6 बालकों को मार डाला. He killed 6 of the children. The 7th, सप्तम गर्भ, भगवान का अंश अनंत गर्भ में आए. And the 7th was an ansh of Bhagwan. Sheshji came into Devaki's womb. And Devaki was now elated. And when you become elated and happy and joyful, that is shown in your body language. But in her case, sorrow was also higher because of fear that Kansa is going to destroy this one as well. So the question must be, if Devaki was representative of all of these good qualities, why is she going through all of this suffering? Don't we ask of that? I do Surya Jal every morning, Bhagwan. Why am I suffering? We ask the same question. Isn't that so? Because we've forgotten before the Surya Jal what else we did. Before we started turning to Bhagwan, what did we do? So she lost 6 children and she was imprisoned. Does she deserve this? So there is a katha that in a previous birth, not the immediate previous birth, in a previous birth, she was Aditi, the wife of Kashyap Muni. And Aditi became pregnant and Indra was born. And Kashyap Muni blessed his other wife, who was Diti, that she will also have a brilliant son. But Aditi did not want anyone to be greater than her son Indra. So, with Indra's help, she caused Diti to miscarry. Right? And when Diti became aware of the cause of her miscarriage, she cursed Aditi to be born on earth, where she will spend time imprisoned and she will see her sons being killed. So, because of this curse, but let me just quickly explain what I view a curse to be. A curse is a negative consequence of our own past karma. Nobody else can curse you. Nobody else can give you good fortune. Your joy and your sorrow is determined by your own mindset and your own actions. So when we use this word shrap diya, shrap means a consequence of your wrong action. So then Bhagwan, he now is addressing Yog Maya. Bhagwan is now, he hasn't taken birth yet, he hasn't come. He says, Gacha Devi Vraja Bhadram Gopa Gobhir Alankritam Rohini Vasudevasya Bharyastu Nanda Gokule Anyascha Kansa Samvignaha Vivareshu Vasantihi Athaham Ansha Bhagena Devakya Putrata Shubhe Prapsyami Tvam Yashodayam Nanda Patnya Bhavishyasi. So what did he say to her? He says, Hey Devi. Who is talking? Bhagwan. See the respect with which he is talking? Hey Devi. When we talk to Devis, to the women in our lives, we must talk with this kind of respect. He says, Aap Vraj mein jao. Go to Vraj और वहां गायों और ग्वालों द्वारा जो प्रदेश शोभित है वहां जाओ. Go to that place that is adorned by the presence of cows and the cowherds and the gopis. मेरा अंश जिसे शेष कहते हैं अभी देवकी के उदर में स्थित है. So my one part of me, my ansha, in the form of Sheshnag, that Shesh is in the womb of Devaki. उसे निकाल कर, remove that. रोहिणी के उदर में रख दो and put it into the womb of Rohini. और तुम यशोदा के गर्भ से जन्म लेना. Right? So Bhagwan tells Devi Yoga Maya to remove Devaki's, the embryo from her womb, which is an expansion of Sheshji, and transfer it to Rohini. And that she must be born as Yoga Maya. So this, what do we call this? Child swapping in the modern days, isn't that so? Yeah. But this is before birth, right? And without causing harm, physical or otherwise, to either parent. None of the parents suffer because of this child swapping, unlike the modern day child swapping, right? So he says to Devi, you will take birth as Yashoda's child, Yoga Maya, and you will fulfill people who worship you. How will they worship you? He says, Dhup Deep Naivedya Archishyanti Manushyastva Sarvakama Areshwari. That people will worship you with Dhup Deep Naivedya, etc., and you will fulfill the wishes of the people. Who is saying this again? Bhagwan is saying, the people will worship Devi. And I hope I have emphasized that sufficiently. Bhagwan is saying, people will worship Devi and Devi will fulfill the needs. In the Durga Saptashati, it says, Nanda Gopa Grihe Jata Yashoda Garbha Sambhava Tatasto Nashishyami Vindhyachala Nivasini. That I will take avatar as the child of Nanda and reside in the Vindhyachal mountains. So who said that? Devi Mata said that in the Durga Saptashati. So Yoga Maya is cooperating with Bhagwan. And together, they are going to remove the Asuras. Yet many in the modern world will have academic arguments and debates about should we worship Devi Mata or not. I want to find out what better authority do you want than Bhagwan himself saying that they will worship you as Durga, Bhadrakali, Vaishnavi, Sharada, Vijaya, Ambika, and many other such names. Do we need any more authority? Mata Rani ki Jai. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche. So this is referred to as the Navarna mantra. Just like how we heard Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya yesterday, it says the Ashta Akshar mantra. Ashta Akshar, 8 syllables. Navarna mantra is 9 syllables. So at the end of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or in the middle, don't add anything, because then it's not Ashtakshar. And when you say Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche, count it, it comes to 9. If you add anything, if you remove anything, it will not be a Navarna mantra. So now that the environment for Bhagwan's arrival has matured, it has ripened, then the Asuras are wreaking havoc and causing great injustice to the devatas and other pious beings. Adharma is overwhelming the forces of dharma. And the forces of dharma seem to be silent and suppressed. They do not want to speak out. And the devatas have come to be a part of Bhagwan's Leelas. Then Bhagwan will enter into Devaki's womb. So, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. That when there is a decline in dharma and an increase in dharma, Bhagwan will certainly come. In the Ramayana we read, Vipradhenu Sura Santahita Lin Manuja Avatar Nija Ichha Nirmit Tanu Maya Gunagopar. That Bhagwan apni hi ichha se aayegi. He'll come on his own terms. Nobody is going to tell him that he must come or he mustn't come. Right? So Yog Maya followed the direction of Bhagwan and transferred the embryo as she was directed. And we know that in this way, Bhagwan is going to remove the fear of his devotees. Tam viksha kansa prabhayajitantara virochayanti bhavanam shrutismitam ahosha me pranaharo harirguham dhruvam shrito yanna pareyamidrashi. So here, Devaki ka sundarta से देवकी को सुंदरता से चमकते हुए बंदी ग्रह में देखकर सब उज्जवल हो रहा है. So Kans saw that this prison cell was so bright because Devaki now had the power of Bhagwan within her, and she was brilliant, shining. And then he says, Kans ko ehsaas hua, he realized कि भगवान विष्णु देवकी से पैदा होगी, that Bhagwan Vishnu is going to come now. So he says, I'm now certain that he's going to come for me. See the fear again, right? So he began to think of a plan, and again, see the presence of Bhagwan, even for a few moments, how it can change your thinking. He immediately said, it will be wrong to kill Devaki because warriors do not strike women. Kansa is saying this. And further, she is my sister and she is pregnant. Killing her will immediately destroy my fame, my glory, my wealth, and my lifespan too. So, Devaki ko marna theek nahi hoga. This is what he said. And remember what it says in Manusmriti, Yatra naryastu pujante ramante tatra devataha. Yatre tastu na pujante sarvastra pralakriyah. Where women are respected, the devatas are happy, and they provide all the needs. Where there is disrespect for women, they all yajna, all auspicious activities will be in vain. Even Kansa understands that. Kansa understands that. Violence against women is unacceptable. Does this not mean that those who abuse women are worse than Kansa? So Bhagwan Shankar and Brahma ji entered the prison and they sang a stuti to Bhagwan. Shinvan grinan sansmarasthans cha chintayan namanai rupani cha mangalani te kriyasu yaspat charanarvindayor avishta chetana bhavaya kalpate. That those who listen to or chant your wonderful names, the wonderful names of Bhagwan, who focus their minds on your lotus feet, they are freed from the cycle of birth and death. Now I'm going to ask Acharya Chamoli to take us to another level of understanding with the bhajan.
बोले कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। गले से लगा लो ना कन्हैया मुझको, गले से लगा लो, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो ना। गले से लगा लो ना कन्हैया मुझको, गले से लगा लो ना, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो। अपना नहीं कोई सब है पराई, अपना नहीं कोई सब है पराई, जितना उठूं मुझको उतना गिराए, जितना उठूं मुझको उतना गिराए, आकर संभालो ना कन्हैया मुझको, आकर संभालो, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो ना। गले से लगा लो ना कन्हैया मुझको, गले से लगा लो ना, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो। प्राणा हमारा हमने सुना है तू है हरे का सहारा, हमने सुना है तू है हरे का सहारा, मुझे भी जिता कन्हैया के, मुझे भी जिताओ ना, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो ना। गले से लगा लो ना कन्हैया के, गले से लगा लो ना, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो। गंगा गौरी तुमको पुकारे, गंगा गौरी तुमको पुकारे, आजा रे आजा भगतों के प्यारे, आजा रे आजा भगतों के प्यारे, प्रेम बढ़ाओ ना कन्हैया के, प्रेम बढ़ाओ ना, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो ना। गले से लगा लो ना, कन्हैया के गले से लगा लो ना, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मिला, मुझे अपना बना लो ना, तुम्हारे सिवा कोई न मेरा, मुझे अपना बना लो ना, मुझे अपना बना लो। भोले बाबे बिहारी लाल की जय।
तो जो हम इस तरह से पुकारेंगे तो जरूर भगवान आए। आज जो आप भक्तों के प्यारे हैं। So at the auspicious time of Bhagwan's avatar, the entire universe, entire creation was endowed with brilliance and beauty and goodness and peace. Rohini Nakshatra was ruling. All the stars and the grahas were auspicious and calm prevailed. So therefore, when you want to do any good activity, and I'm hoping that's the only activity you'll want to do, that you will check the positions of all the grahas and the constellations, but also, not only that, make sure all the conditions are present which will enhance the success of that activity. So now do you see why we check where the various nakshatras and all are? Not because we say we do not want any inauspiciousness, but we are saying we want to attract, we want to engage in this activity in a completely supportive environment, right? So this is why they say you must open book. Actually, it means check the positions of, check that the environment is conducive to this good activity. It will give it greater chance of success, right? So not only this was the Rohini Nakshatra and the planets were there, rivers were flowing freely with pure water. Lilies and lotuses were in full bloom in the pure lakes and ponds. Birds and bees joined in the singing to create the right environment to welcome Bhagwan, right? The minds of the sadhus and the brahmanas who were previously all disturbed because of the agitation and the persecution, now they were experiencing peace and tranquility. जब हम भगवान को अपने जीवन में अवतार लेने देते हैं, तो पूरी सृष्टि एक शुभ प्रकृति ले आती है. The entire creation takes on a supportive रूप, supportive form, और हमारे सारी कष्ट और परेशानियां महत्वहीन हो जाती है. It becomes, all the difficulties become insignificant. And इसका परिणाम क्या है? When you allow Bhagwan to take avatar in your life, what is the result of it? शांत अनुभव होता है. We experience peace. So look at this from the other side now. If you create an auspicious environment, then it will attract Bhagwan into your lives. If you sing like how Sachin ji sang, you will attract Bhagwan into your life. If you do good deeds, you will attract Bhagwan into your life. If you think good thoughts, you will attract Bhagwan into your life. That is why they say when a person is going to have a child, the mother and the father must create the right environment while the child is still in the womb. Create the right environment so that the child who becomes influenced by that positivity, and you get a good child. Getting a child is very easy, biological process. But getting a good child requires effort right from the beginning. Nishite tama udbhute jayamane janardane devakya deva rupinyam Vishnu sarvagahasayah avir asid yatha pratyam dishindriva pushphalah. So Nishita tam udbhute. Nishita means late at night, when there was complete darkness. Devakya Devarupinya. Devakya Devarupinya. So it means Devaki was like all the devatas together, all auspiciousness. And that Bhagwan, जो जन्म और मृत्यु के चक्र से छुड़ाते हैं और जो सभी प्राणियों के हृदय में स्थित है, वह देवकी से प्रकट हुए. So Bhagwan was then born. At that moment, Bhagwan, who is the key to ending the cycle of birth and death, appeared from Devaki. Bolo Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai, Shri Nand Nand Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Bal Gopal ki jai. So Vasudev saw Bhagwan Vasudev. Vasudev, the father, saw Bhagwan Vasudev in the form of a child, Adbhut Balak ke roop mein. Okay? And tam Adbhuta Balakam Abhujokshanam Chaturbhujam Shankar Gadar Yudham Shri Vatsa Lakshanam Galashobhiko Subham Pitambaram Sandra Poda Sobhagam. So he saw this child, Bhagwan, who had lotus-like eyes, who carried in his 4 hands the Shankh, Chakra, Gada and Padma, who had the Srivatsa mark on the right side of his chest, and who wore a brilliant Kaustubha mani around his neck. His garments, Pitambara, wearing yellow, and his complexion dark like a cloud. This is the similar description given in Ram Avatar. Lochan Abhirama Tanughan Shama Nija Ayudha Bhujachari Bhushan Vanmala Nayan Vishala Sobha Sindhu Karari. Jai Shri Ram. So, Devatas or God is depicted in Hinduism with certain symbols, and they all convey a special meaning, a special significance. So, for example, Bhagwan Krishna was born with the lotus eyes. The lotus represents peace, joy, and auspiciousness. The sound of the Shankh that we heard, and he carries a Shankh in his hand. It is a call to all of us to duty. Apna dharma karo, do your duty, to arise and act in accordance with dharma. And if we do not follow the call of the Shankh that says, rise up and do your duty, if you do not listen and respond appropriately to this higher call of the Shankh to perform your duty, then storms, famine, drought, climate change, war, social chaos, all of that will follow. Why? To act as a gada, Shankh, Chakra, Gada, to knock us back into shape. The gada will knock us back into shape and to make us disciplined. And if after this knocking by the gada, we don't improve, if we cannot be redeemed, then the chakra or eternal time annihilates. So that's the 4 symbols there. So Vasudeva was awestruck, and he made a sankalp in his mind that 10,000 cows will be given as part of the celebration as dhan. See how you welcome children into your lives? By sharing the joy with others in a way that others will appreciate it, right? But how are children welcomed in many homes, and including in some Hindu homes today? After conception, they have a baby shower, right? And then they have another one, what they call gender reveal. Our sanskaras are punsavan, simantonayan, after the birth, shashti, jat karma. And then in the modern days, after the birth, they partake of and often share as well. They give dan, copious amounts of alcohol. And what does it do? It causes blurred vision. So they don't see this adbhut roop. What do they see? They see an ajib roop. Isn't that so? And now with Adhik Mas, some are having Adhik Bhojan, they're having Adhik fun, Adhik inauspicious behavior, and Adhik Pyas bhi hoti hai. So Adhik Pikar Janma manate hai. See, it is fine to drink. Okay? And you can tell everybody that I said so. It is fine to drink. Koi piyo re piyala Ram ras ka, koi piyo re piyala Ram ras ka, koi piyo. So Vasudev then offered praise to Bhagwan, who had brightened up the entire prison cell. Devaki also prayed. And at that time, Yogamaya had taken birth in the home of Nand Baba. And by the power of Yogamaya, all the doorkeepers and other attendants fell asleep. And Vasudev took baby Krishna to Gokul. So he was going to take Krishna Bhagwan to Gokul, and the prison doors, the cell doors opened by the grace of Bhagwan and the intervention of Yoga Maya. Bhagwan and his Maya work together. And while he was going, as he decided to leave, all his chains and shackles became undone. And Sheshnag followed him and formed an umbrella over Bhagwan Krishna's head so that he doesn't get wet in the heavy rain that was falling. And he exchanged the babies, bringing Yoga Maya back to the prison. Now, we are going to now sing a special bhajan which depicts Bhagwan's movement from Mathura to Gokul. Mathura mein janme kanhaiya, badhaiya Gokul mein baaje.
बोले कृष्ण कन्हैया की राके बिहारी लाल की नंद घरा नंद भयो जय कन्हैया लाल की नंद घरा नंद जय कन्हैया कन्हैया लाल की जय कन्हैया लाल की
कन्हैया लाल के नंद नंद भाई को जय कन्हैया लाल के नंद नंद भाई को जय कन्हैया लाल के हाथी दिन घोड़ा दिन पार दिन पाल के हाथी दिन घोड़ा दिन पाल के नंद के आनंद भाई को जय कन्हैया लाल के नंद आनंद भाई को जय कन्हैया लाल के जय हो नंद लाल की जय सुधा लाल की जय हो नंद लाल की जय सुधा लाल की नंद के आनंद भाई को जय कन्हैया लाल की नंद के आनंद भाई को जय कन्हैया लाल की नंद के आनंद भाई को जय कन्हैया लाल की नंद के आनंद भाई को जय कन्हैया जय कन्हैया लाल की जय कन्हैया की जय कन्हैया लाल की जय कन्हैया जय श्री कृष्ण
So you are all sitting here as if this is the Yamuna Nadi. And Vasudev was bringing Bhagwan Krishna, and you moved aside to make way for him to walk through. And he's now residing in Gokul. So Kansa was informed of this birth, and Tatkal, immediately he got off his bed, knowing that his cow had taken birth. And Devaki pleaded with him, but it made no difference to the cruel Kansa. He grabbed the child forcibly, and he tried to smash her head against the stone. This is in Mathura, Yogmaya. And Yogmaya slipped from Kansa's hand and appeared in the sky in the form of Durga with all her weapons. Mata Rani ki Jai, Jai Ambe Ma ki.
अम्बे मात की जय
So she warned him that he who will be the cause of your death has taken birth somewhere else. But Kansa became calm, and he became sorry for his cruel behavior. He appealed to Vasudeva and Devaki. He actually bowed down to them for forgiveness, and he released them from prison. And they too showed no signs of anger that he kept us in prison for so long. But later, when Kansa informed his Asuric ministers, they convinced Kansa to cause havoc and to disturb all the sadhus and all of that. So you see, bad company, Asuric ministers, he was turning around, but it can change so easily. In the meantime, Nand Baba and family in Gokul are celebrating the arrival of Bhagwan, and I touched on how they are celebrating. They were overcome with joy. Nand Baba vachitva swasya yanam jata karma atma jasyave karyamasa vidivat pitri devachana yatha. So he had a bath, purified himself, put on beautiful clothing and adornments, and he invited learned brahmanas to recite Swasti Vachan and to do the Jata Karma Sanskar, including Devata Pujan and Pitri Pujan. Does this mean that the father of the child, Nand Baba, was doing all of this puja in Sutak? Is he not in Sutak because there was a birth in his house? Well, actually, it does not mean that. Once the father has a bath, he can continue with all of these activities. So it means when there's a birth, Janma Sutta, we can continue with our daily sadhana and puja, our daily sattvic lifestyle and regular puja. So what Pitri puja was done? The same puja that was done by Sri Ram, by Raja Dashrath when Sri Ram was born. Nandi mukh sarad kari, jat karam sabkin, hatak denu basan mani, nrip vipran kah din hai. So Nand Baba did the Nandi Mukh Shraddh to express his thanks and his appreciation to his ancestors. Because it is the blessings of the ancestors and the contributions that the ancestors made to his life while he was alive that made it possible for him to welcome this child into his life. And the birth of a child is considered as progress, it's considered auspicious. And we must give thanks to the Devatas and to the Pitras when we have this occasion. So who says Pitri Shraddh is not recommended in our scriptures? Who says Bhagwan Krishna doesn't want you to do Pitri Shraddh? There's it here. So there was great utsav in Gokul. The gopis and the gopas, they adorned themselves. Again, pure, beautiful clothing. They were pure and beautiful in appearance, in thought, and in action. And they all gave Ashirvad to Bhagwan. You know, when the child is born, they sing a sohar. I'm not sure if you've heard a sohar. Juga juga jiyo re lalanwa, juga juga jiyo re lalanwa, Nand Baba ke bhag jagal ho. Juga juga jiyo re lalanwa, Gokula ke bhag jagal ho. So that's all I'm going to try. So Nand Baba gave gifts to all of them who showered Ashirvad on his child. And they continued celebrating by spraying each other in the district with milk and dahi, and they smeared makhan on each other's mouths. So we too should all join in this utsav when Bhagwan takes avatar in our lives. We must share milk and dahi, and we must share sweetness of the makhan to everybody around us. That is a sign that Bhagwan has taken avatar in our lives. So I think we're going to complete that bhajan now, Mathura mein janme kanhaiya, as part of the utsav, and I'm going to rest the katha for tonight. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
बधाई हो, बधाई हो। जय हो कन्हैया लाल की। कन्हैया बधैया गोकुल में पावे, गोकुल में पावे। नंद जी बेटा के मुखरानी हारे,
उखड़ाने हारे हम उखड़ाने हारे। Just a minute. या गोकुल में आज मथुरा में, गोकुल में आज जन्म कन्हैया कन्हैया गोकुल।
बोले बोले कृष्ण कन्हैया
तो कल हम लोग फिर मिलेंगे। प्लीज कम टुमारो, आई प्रॉमिस। मैं वादा करता हूँ मैं नहीं गाऊंगा।
व्यासिरन्तरिक्षगुं
शेषनो देवो क्षमावर्धता बुद्धिशाम्भो मृदेशः श्रोत्रातथा लोकामकल्पयन् हेमवासगतं दिव्यं परमान्नमसोभितं पञ्चधा षडदशोपेतं गृहाण परमेश्वर। ॐ प्राणाय स्वाहा, ॐ अपानाय स्वाहा, ॐ उदानाय स्वाहा, ॐ ज्ञानाय स्वाहा, ॐ समानाय स्वाहा। नैवेद्यं निवेदयामि मध्ये मानत्रापोषाणं हस्तप्रक्षालमुखप्रक्षालनं समर्पयामि। सर्वेभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमो नमः। प्रज्वाल्य ज्वाला मालिन्यै नमो नमः। सुकलोपचारार्थे गन्धात् सत्त्वस्थाल्युत वाणी समर्पयामि। नमस्कारामि। आरती
आरती होगा बाकी बिहार।
गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी आरती गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी चांदनी तड़क भव तेरे सन्निधि भारती कुंज बिहारी के गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी के आरती कुंज बिहारी के गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी
कर्पूरकारं करुणावतारं संसार सारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानीं सहितं नमामि। मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णुर्मङ्गलं गरुडध्वजः मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय नमो हरि सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोस्तुते नारायणि नमोस्तुते नारायणि नमोस्तुते जलेनावृतं वा पुष्पैः देवतावन्दनाभ्यामात्मवन्दनं मन्त्रपुष्पाञ्जलिः ॐ यज्ञैराजज्ञमय चन्द्रदेवास्तानधर्मान्यासन्ना हे अनागमहिमानः सजन्मित्रमपेक्षाभ्यां देवाः ॐ राजाधिराजाधिप्रसय्यसाहिने नमो वयं वै स्तमनाय कुर्महे क्षमे कामान् कामकामाय मह्यं कामेश्वरो वै स्तमनो ददातु कुबेराय वै स्तमनाय महाराजाय नमः ॐ स्वस्ति साम्राज्यं भोज्यं समाराज्यं वैराज्यं वारमेक्षमराज्यं महाराज्यमाधिपत्यमयं समन्तपर्यायै स्यात् सार्वभौम सार्वायुषान्दापरार्थात् पृथिव्यै समुद्रपर्यन्ताय एकराडिति तदभ्येष श्लोकोऽभिकेतो मृतः परिवेटारो मृतस्याम सन्धे आवेक्षितस्य कामप्रेर्विश्वे देवाः समाजयति श्रीमन्दिकावकुलचं भगवादलाद्यै पुण्याङ्गजातिकरवीरलशालपुष्पै तुलसीधरमञ्जरी त्वां पूजयामि जगदीश्वर मे प्रसीद नारायणसुगन्धपुष्पाणि यथा कालोद्भवानि च पुष्पाञ्जलिर्मया दत्तं दृढानं परमेश्वर चरणकमलेषु पुष्पाञ्जलिं समर्पयामि श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणपुरुषोत्तमदेवताभ्यो नमो नमः ततः प्रार्थयेत् त्वमेव राजा त्वमेव बन्धः सखा त्वमेव विद्या त्वमेव शरणं मम देव कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्य सकलं परस्मै नारायणाय समर्पयामि कस्तूरितिलकं ललाटे पटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रैर्मौक्तिकं करतले करे कङ्कणम् सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितं कण्ठे च मुक्तावली गोपस्त्री परिवेशितो विजयते गोपालचूडामणिः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरे परमात्मने प्रणताय गोविन्दाय नमः व्यासाय व्यासरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मविदये व्यासिष्ठाय नमो नमः मन्त्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं सुरेश्वर यत्पूजितं मया देव परिपूर्णं तदस्मै
न जानामि विसर्जनं पूजां चैव न जानामि क्षम्यतां परमेश्वर।
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव प्रसीद परमेश्वर। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया की जय। श्री बालकृष्ण लाल की जय। श्री गोवर्धन नाथ की जय। श्यावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री लक्ष्मीनारायण भगवान की जय। श्री जगत जन जगदम्बे मात की जय। श्री उमापति महादेव की जय। श्री पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सब संतों की जय। आज के आनंद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत सप्ताह पारायण यज्ञ की जय। ओम नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हर। जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे। कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। धर्म की जय हो धर्म की जय हो। अधर्म का नाश हो अधर्म का नाश हो। प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो। विश्व का कल्याण हो विश्व का कल्याण हो। वैदिक सनातन हिंदू धर्म की जय हो वैदिक सनातन हिंदू धर्म की जय हो। ओम नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हर।
We kindly request that you all remain seated. Our Acharyajis, Panditjis, and visiting Panditjis will exit the hall now. Please also allow our very senior devotees to exit before you. The Aarti, Panchamarit, and Prasad will be back at the back of the hall. Mohini Ben will assist with the lines. Okay. Just remember, when exiting the hall, dear devotees, please remain seated. Just a reminder, when exiting, once the acharyas and panditjis have left, can the first two rows from the back please start to lead the line out? Yes. Mohini Ben will help the first two rows in the back.
Tell them to all sit. Everybody needs to.
They all sitting. Okay, they all sitting.
Yeah, it must come from the first two rows from the back. Tell everybody to sit.
All devotees, can you please be seated? Only the first two rows from the back will be leaving now.
And continue with the
Mohini Ben will help with the next two rows shortly. Just a reminder, those who wish to sit for the Hawan on Sunday, please remember to put your names down in the book for the list for the names on the Hawan. Membership forms are also available outside for those who wish to be part of Durban Hindu Temple members. Also, once you are done with your meals, feel free to come into the main hall where the Jula will be for those who wish to take your blessings from the Jula. I think Mohini Ben will help with the next few rows. We trust you had a wonderful experience and apologize for any shortcomings.